side of my mind telling me to kill. Telling me to get a butcher knife up out of the kitchen. Hey, wait a minute, listen.
Hey everyone, it's Chris from Critcast.com here. I know it's been a long time since we last spoke about movies, which was, about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Thought I'd give it another shot. There's a couple movies I saw this past weekend that I don't really have any intentions of writing full-length reviews on, but figured I'd, share some thoughts on it, see if anyone, might have any interest in hearing about them. Anyway, the first movie I saw was the new Ridley Scott film, Exodus: Gods and Kings, which is his take on the story of Moses and the liberating of the Hebrew people from the Egyptian slavery. I don't know. It's certainly big. It's epic. It's got a pretty big scope, but at the same time, there really didn't feel like there was a lot of heart to it. Sure, the effects were good, but Christian Bale did not seem to be quite on his game as Moses. Sure, he was good. I mean, the guy is a good actor. There's no question about that. But I don't know. He didn't feel like he had a lot invested in it. It might be that he just got swallowed up by the epic scope, and that there really wasn't enough focus on the individual. But I don't know. It just didn't feel involving. I will say, though, on the performance side, Joel Edgerton, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his name, who played Ramses, was really quite good. I actually liked what he brought to the table. He had some interesting, body motions, some inflections, the way he approached the character as, believing that he is a god king, was actually quite good. I also enjoyed the way that God was presented as in the image of a child coming to talk to Moses. I liked during the escape how when they did the parting of the Red Sea, it wasn't just like him striking a stick on a rock to split the sea, but it seemed to be a more natural seeming intervention, if you will. Which I'll let you see it for yourself, see how you interpret that scene. But it was a good film, just not a great one. I'm not quite sure exactly what I expected from it, but I think it's pretty much on par on what I thought I was going to get when I saw the trailer. So it's worth checking out, but it's not something to go absolutely crazy about. To move along, the other movie I saw that I liked even better was actually really, really good. I mean, it was better than I was expecting it to be, and I was actually looking forward to it. Is the new Chris Rock film, Top 5. I don't know if I really care about the title, but be that as it may, who cares about the title? Based on if the movie itself is good or not. It's an interesting film. Chris Rock wrote it, he directed it, and he stars in it, and he plays a character who is a comedian who at one point was on top of the world, and now seems to have, he wants to transition into another part of his career. Like he wants to be taken seriously, do some more dramatic roles, but people just want him to be funny, and the film that he's promoting in the film is kind of, not reviewing very well. It's being overshadowed by his much publicized wedding to a reality star. And it's all in the framework of being interviewed for an article in the New York Times, which really works. It works well. The movie is really funny. I mean, there are moments where I was laughing out loud, literally, and I haven't really done that a lot this year, except maybe 22 Jump Street which was hysterical and probably the best comedy this year. Top 5. It's an interesting look at a star trying to find his place in a changing time. It kind of feels like a more realistic version of Birdman, which is a top 5 movie for me this year. Right now, that movie was spectacular from an artistic standpoint, from a content standpoint, whereas this one, it's a bit more generic, but it is well written, has some interesting characters, and is involving. I really liked that Chris Rock was very entertaining here. He was probably one of the better performances I've seen from him, and I don't always like his films, but this one in particular was probably one of his best films, in my opinion. It's definitely worth checking out. It didn't open that great. Granted, it wasn't a very wide release, but I would definitely say if it's playing in your area, go check it out. It's definitely worth checking. It's definitely worth seeing. That pretty much wraps up what I saw theatrically of new releases this past weekend. I also had the opportunity to go down to a theater in Yonkers, which is about an hour south from me, and see a 35 millimeter screening of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which, if you haven't seen that, is a classic. That movie it's grimy, it's grungy, it's dark, it's funny. It's not a family movie. It's fun. If you like horror films, you like weird stuff, you like 80s horror, this is definitely one that you're going to want to see. And not to say that the 35 millimeter print that we saw looked really good. Although it did appear that we were seeing the edited, the R-rated print, I believe. It was definitely not the uncut. But still, it looked great. The colors were sharp, the sound was really good. And just watching, young Billy grow up and, go out and, deliver his brand of Santa-related punishment to the naughty children, based on his experiences growing up. And, you could probably read a lot into it, but sometimes a fun, gritty movie like this is just a fun, gritty movie. And, to top it off, I was able to hang out with Jimmy Terror, from DocTerror.com and co-founder of the new site HorrorSexy.com. So after we got to experience that film, which was a lot of fun, we actually got to hang out and talk about this new site. And I know I've been pushing it on my site a lot, and I definitely recommend, if you get a chance, make sure you head over to HorrorSexy.com or the HorrorSexy Facebook page and give them a like. It's a collective of horror writers who don't just write about horror. So, even if you don't like horror, go by and take a look and get, our views and thoughts on a whole variety of topics. It's definitely a lot of fun. I'm really happy to be a part of it. And I think you guys really like it too. And that doesn't mean that, you shouldn't come visit me at criticaloutcast.com. That site's going to keep going strong for a long time to come, so long as, people are still interested, or, there's still movies left for me to see. But, really that's about it for this week. I hope you check these films out. I mean, they're all worth seeing. They're not all great, but, they're definitely worth spending some time with. Especially Silent Night, Deadly Night, with the holidays bearing down upon us. Okay, but, that's about it for now. If you want to, check me out, you can see me at HorrorSexy.com, CriticalOutcast.com. Find me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all those fun places. Until next time, enjoy.